Okay. Okay. Thank you. So let me quickly revise what we had done in the previous week. In the previous few lectures, we had studied about what exactly is hashing. Then we saw the working principles of hashing. What exactly is a hash? What are the two important properties of a hash function? Then we had seen what is a good hash value, good hash function, followed by this particular topic that is what we call as MAC, that is message authentication code. We also saw what is the basic fundamental concept of message authentication. And once after completing it, we saw that there are few scenarios where we could protect our hash values from attacks. We saw four such scenarios, and we also saw what are their significances. We saw that three of them can be used for integrity checks as well as confidentiality, and one of them can be used only for integrity check, if I'm not wrong. Fine. And after that, we saw what exactly is a message authentication code. I told you that whenever we combine hashing and encryption together, that is what we call as the message authentication code. For example, this particular thing that you can see, encryption, that is hashing followed by encryption with the key K, is what we call as a MAC, or a message authentication code. So this is what we had done in the previous two lectures from this module number 3. So today we are going to start with the remaining topic, that is the second application of hashing, that is digital signatures. And once we complete with digital signatures, we are going to start with a very important concept from your subject, from your syllabus, Message Digest 5. It is one of the hashing algorithms we are going to learn, or digesting algorithms we are going to learn. In total, there are two algorithms that we are going to learn. First is MD5, that is Message Digest version 5, and SHA1, that is Secure Hash Algorithm 1. And so let's start with what exactly is a digital signature. As you can see on your screen, digital signature is basically, it is the process where we actually verify the integrity, or we can say the authentication of the user. Just have a look, just read it. It is quite similar to the message authentication protocol, or message authentication application. Fine. The operation of digital signatures is quite similar to that of MAC. How is it similar? Let's understand this. In the case of a digital signature, what we actually do is the hash value of the message is encrypted with a user's private key. If you remember in the last lecture, I had simply started off with this concept that it is 90% similar to what we have studied so far. The only difference lies over here. That is, as we all know, in a general public key crypto system, the message is encrypted using the public key. Yes or no? This is the plain text. It is encrypted using the public key. This goes through the communication medium. And while decryption, it is being decrypted with the private key. This is what generally happens in a public key crypto system or asymmetric key crypto system. Yes or no? Yes, come on, let me know your answers. Fine. So, how is it different? How is a digital signature different from the existing encryption techniques, or we can say the existing public key crypto systems? The only difference over here is, instead of encrypting with the public key, the encryption happens with the private key. Yes or no? The line over here, this particular statement over here says that only, that in the case of a digital signature, the hash value of a message is encrypted with a user's private key. Is it clear now? Yes, come on, let me know. Whereas in the previous case, we saw that if I go back over here, whatever encryption was happening, it was with the help of the symmetric key, or in short, what we can say, in the case of a normal public key crypto system, we usually encrypt with the receiver's public key, and the receiver decrypts the message using his or her his or her private key. Yes, but this is exactly opposite of that. Here, what we will do, we will be encrypting with the private key, and we will decrypt using the public key. Now you only tell me whose public key and whose private key we are talking about. Kindly let me know your answers. Obviously, we know that encrypting is encryption is done with the help of the private key. But whose private key? Sender or receiver? Simran, both are users. So we are going to talk in terms of sender and receivers. Okay, is it correct? I'm getting answers as a receiver. Okay. What about A division? Okay, Harsh is saying sender. Fine. Yes, come on, give me answers. I have only received 3 to 4 answers so far. Just think of the scenario once and try to understand what is happening. In the previous lecture also, I had told you कि if the revise करना properly. The same thing I'm repeating once again. It has to be the private key of the sender or the receiver. Very simple question it is. Digital signature का use क्या है? मैंने last time example भी दिया था sign. If I sign on a sheet of paper, what exactly I'm trying to verify? I'm trying to verify the authenticity of the user. Yes or no? User मतलब जो sign कर रहा है उसका authentication निकालते हैं ना हम लोग. Yes or no? Kindly let me know. So if I'm signing the message, then I'm the sender or the receiver. इतना simple question है. If I am trying to send a message from one end to the other end, so what should be the key that I should be using? मैं खुद का ही साइन करूंगा ना कि सामने वाले का साइन करूंगा. Now now I guess this is clear. Yes or no? Yes, correct. I will be using my private key, not public key, Arvind. Don't make a mistake over here. I'm repeating it once again. Kindly pay attention. I am not encrypting. I am doing a sign on a sheet of paper. Just take an example of a sheet of paper. This is a legal agreement, for example. यहाँ पे साइन का जो टैब होता है वहाँ पे मैं खुद का साइन करता हूँ कि एडवोकेट का साइन करूंगा. खुद का साइन करूंगा ना. So that is what we call as a private key. Yes or no? Yes, come on. Is it clear now? So digital signatures and message authentication codes are totally different in terms of this particular concept only. In terms of message authentication code, we are encrypting with the receiver's public key. The receiver will decrypt it using his or her private key. But this is exactly opposite. Digital signatures is where I am trying to find out the authenticity of the user. जो मैसेज भेज रहा है, I am trying to authenticate the sender. So if I'm trying to verify the sender, what I should do? The sender has to encrypt the message with his or her private key, and the receiver is obviously having the public key of all the users present in the network. Yes or no? पब्लिक की का मतलब क्या है कि सबको सबका पब्लिक की पता है, राइट? सो इफ आई एम ट्राइंग टू क्लेम एज एलिस, फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ ऑन वन फाइन डे आई ट्राई टू क्लेम एज एलिस एंड आई सेंड अ मैसेज टू बॉब. बॉब हैज टू चेक, राइट? बॉब हैज टू फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल वेरीफाई कि ये मैसेज एलिस ने ही भेजा है कि किसी और बंदे ने भेजा है, चार्ली ने भेजा है. Yes or no? For that, what Bob will do is Bob will check whether this message has been encrypted using Alice's private key or not. Because as you all know, there is a correspondence, there is a relationship between the private key and the public key. So if this message is being encrypted or signed by Alice's private key, Bob has already got the public keys of all the parties present in the network. Yes or no? सबका public key उसके पास है. So what Bob will do? Bob will quickly verify by decrypting this message using Alice's public key. If this message is decrypted properly, then Bob will come to a conclusion that so and so message has been sent by Alice only and not by Charlie. Am I clear now? Is the explanation clear? Kindly let me know, Mihir, Arvind, Parth, Sambhav. Is it fine? Samjha abhi? Yes or no? The most simple example I could give. Yes, Mihir, is it clear now? You wanted me to repeat it? Okay, okay. Uh, ठीक है. Once again, I'm breaking this example and I'm trying to explain it once again. What happens is Alice wants to send a message to Bob, but Bob has to verify whether that message has been sent by Alice or not. Same example लो इसका, जो यहाँ पे दिख रहा है आपको, sheet of paper. For example, if I say that tomorrow is your lecture sorry, tomorrow is your test for so and so topic. It should come from me, right? You should first verify whether that message has been circulated by me or not. So generally what we do, if I circulate it on a piece of paper, I sign over there at the bottom just to show that I have only sent out the message, right? Same concept happens over here. If Alice wants to send a message to Bob, Alice has to encrypt that message using her private key so that Bob can verify whether the message has been sent by Alice or not by simply decrypting it with the help of Alice's public key. Yes or no? How is it clear? If Bob is able to decrypt the message using Alice's public key, then Bob will come to know that, yeah, so and so message was sent by Alice only, which proves her identity. Am I clear? Now is it fine? It's a little confusing, but I hope I was able to explain it properly. Is any more confusions? Kindly let me know. Yes, can we move ahead? A division, B division, need your answers. Okay, okay, fine. So the explanation is again properly mentioned in the next slide. I just wanted to explain it once again. Okay, so just have a look. See the highlighted portion. Anyone who knows the user's public key can verify the integrity of the message or basically the authenticity of the message that is associated with the digital signature. The same concept I have told you just now. So basically, anyone who knows the user's public key can verify. This particular word is very important. So what we can say is, with the help of digital signatures, we can verify. I'm writing it over here. With the help of digital signatures, we can verify the message integrity or the message authenticity. Fine. Whereas with the help of encryption, there are few things you have to mention. You have to keep in mind. Encryption hoga, so I can be sure about the confidentiality. Yes or no? The same we have done. Message authentication hoga, to integrity as well as confidentiality. Yes or no? Same thing. Digital signature. Digital signature से क्या होगा? We can verify the user's identity. Is it clear now? Just concepts ध्यान में लेके चलो, कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगा समझने में. फिर डायरेक्टली रट्टा मत मारना, कुछ नहीं समझेगा. Right? So when I'm talking about message authentication codes or MAC, I am hashing as well as encrypting. But I'm encrypting with a symmetric key. Symmetric key की बात कर रहा हूँ. To see over here, this is the symmetric key I'm talking about. Yes or no? Same key which is being shared by both the sender and the receiver. I'm talking about a hash value, message authentication code. But whenever I'm talking about digital signatures, we make use of public key cryptography, public key and private key. Am I clear now? Yes, can we move ahead? Do let me know. Fine? Okay. So let's move ahead with this explanation. Yes, this is very important. The last line. In this case, an attacker who wishes to alter the message would need to know the user's private key also. So now over here, the user is the sender. Because the sender is sending some value, that is in our case Alice is sending some value to Bob. So if an attacker wants to attack the communication, first of all the attacker should also have Alice's private key, yes or no? But private key is not shared with anyone else in the network, so it is very difficult for the attacker to guess the user's private key or the sender's private key. That is where digital signatures come into picture. Is it fine now? Yes, do let me know if it is clear so that I can move ahead. Yes, come on, let me know. Okay. What about B division? Okay, fine. So let us understand two scenarios where digital signatures come into picture. Scenario number A and scenario number B. These are the two scenarios. The first scenario is just have a look at this diagram and then try to explain what exactly is happening. Come on, have a look at this diagram and then let me know what is happening over here. There is a source, there is a destination, there is a message M, okay, and then we can try to compare this with the previous case, that is the message authentication code. So over here, what exactly is happening? There is a message M. We take a hash of it, right? Then we encrypt the hash using A's private key. A is nothing but the sender or the source. This is what is happening over here, yes or no? Just have a look. There is a message M. We take a hash of that message, and then we encrypt that hash using sender's private key PRA. Fine. And the total, whatever result we are getting over here, that is appended with M. So we are getting something like this: M appended with encrypted value of the hash with PRA. Yes or no? Am I clear? Is this diagram clear so far? Let's have a look what we are doing. There is a message M. We take a hash of it. We'll see later on what are the various algorithms using which we can take a hash, right? So once we take the hash of of that message, we encrypt that hash with PRE, that PRA, that is private key of A. Is it fine till now? Come on, reciprocate, give me answers. Yes, okay. And once we get the result of this hashing algorithm and encryption algorithm, we append it with the existing message and then we send it to the receiver. Is it clear? What does the receiver do? The receiver will have two parts of the message. The first part will itself be the message, and the second part will be this. That is nothing but the hash which is encrypted using the private key of Alice. Now, this is where the things change and differ from message authentication codes. If you remember, in the case of message authentication codes, there was no concept of a private key and public key. We used to have a symmetric key, K, on either side. याद है कि नहीं? The same thing. Used to have K for both encryption and decryption. That is अपना normal symmetric key. But in this case, we are having the concept of PR and PU. That is private key and public key. Is it making sense? Yes or no? Kindly let me know. Yes, come on, students, kindly let me know. Give your answers. Yes, fine. Right? So just have a look at this diagram. At the receiver's end, the receiver will receive the message. The receiver will also receive the encrypted hash, which is basically encrypted with the private key of Alice. I'm writing it over here, private key of, for example, A लिखा है तो Alice ले लो. ठीक है? Now, what the receiver will do is receiver will take again compute the hash of this message, and the receiver will now decrypt this portion in red using which key? Yes, come on, let me know. The receiver needs to decrypt this message using which key? Public key of whom? This has to be crystal clear. Public key of whom? Alice or A. Correct. Public key of A. Because if this message is being encrypted using private key of A, it has to be decrypted using public key of A. Exact opposite, right? Previously, we used to see it like this, that encrypt using public, decrypt using private. That is encryption. But in this case, it is exactly opposite. We are trying to find out digital signatures. So if Alice has encrypted the message using Alice's private key, that should be decrypted using her own public key only. Now I hope this is clear. So once the receiver B or Bob, whatever you want to call it, decrypts this message using public key of Alice. Now, as you know, public key is public to the entire communication network. जितने भी users होंगे सबके पास हर एक बंदे का public key होगा. So using that key, if Bob is able to decrypt this message, then basically उसको क्या मिलेगा? Hash मिलेगा. And then he will compare this hash that he has got now just now with the already computed hash, and if they are same, then he or she will verify that this message has been actually sent by Alice. समझ रहे हो फंडा क्या है? Otherwise, if somebody else tries to uh, come in between, एक man in the middle sort of attack कर देता है, so obviously hash value will differ. Yes or no? So digital signatures, yes, Jyoti, it is not for actually sending a message. It is just to verify whether the sender is actually the intended user or not. वही difference है between digital signature और message authentication code. If you want to protect the message, you need to follow message authentication code. If you want to verify the user, you need to follow this particular method, which is what we call as digital signature. Is it clear? Yes, me. I will give an example. Don't worry. Is it clear now? Real life example, obviously I have already given a lot of times. Still एक example देता हूँ. Again the same non-technical example. For example, if I'm sending a message on Google Classroom, ठीक है? Now you know that that message has been shared by me because मेरा photo उधर आता है, मेरा name लिख के आता है. Because obviously authentication has been done previously. I have a Google account. I have authenticated myself. Hence the जो मैसेज आपको दिख रहा है वो मेरे अकाउंट से ही आया है. आई एम जस्ट नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट द हैकिंग कंसेप्ट. अकाउंट हैक हुआ रहेगा तो अलग बात है, बट द मैसेज हैज बीन सेंट फ्रॉम माय अकाउंट ओनली. सो एनीवन रीडिंग द मैसेज विल कम टू अ कंक्लूजन दैट ये सर ने ही मैसेज अपलोड किया है. इज इट क्लियर? मीर, am I clear? So what I'm trying to do here, you can try to correlate that with a digital signature. If authentication is done, it will obviously be a verified message that so and so user ने message upload किया है. That is the concept, or we can say the application of a digital signature. Fine. Any more confusions? So once again, I'm repeating, don't get confused. जैसे अभी someone had asked me, I guess Jyoti had asked me कि message तो कोई भी पढ़ लेगा. The only concept is digital signatures are used to verify whether message has been actually sent by the intended user or not. If you want more security, what you can do, अगला जो scenario वही है, what you can do, you can add an encryption in between with a shared key. Okay. Am I making sense now? Yes or no? Yes, you can say email ID is the public key and password is the private key. Correct. Very good example. Dhruv. Now, just keep in mind, if you want to make sure that the user is actually Alice, then you should perform digital signatures. But if you want to add encryption also to it, to add a lot of security, then you can do it like this. समझ रहे हैं अभी क्या किया हम लोगों ने? I simply have added another layer of security. As you can see, the diagram is exactly same, just a minor addition in between. If you can compare this with the previous diagram, kindly let me know what extra have I added in between. Just have a look at this diagram and let me know how is scenario B different from scenario A. Just have a look at it. Correct, encrypted. So what exactly I'm doing? I'm not only sticking to the digital signatures. I'm not only verifying the authenticity of the user. I'm also providing confidentiality to it. So it ultimately depends on the end users. उनको कितना security चाहिए. If they are happy with the first scenario, then they can use the first scenario. If they want some extra security to their entire communication, then they can go for the encrypted text also, encryption also in between. Yes, Simran, Harsh, Parth, Simran, correct. We have added an extra layer of security, that is an encryption module in between. So the appended message which we had got in the previous case, that goes through an encryption with the use of a symmetric key. K. Obviously, अभी ये मत पूछना symmetric key कैसे आया. We have already seen Diffie-Hellman key exchange. They can generate their own symmetric keys, their own shared keys at their own end. I hope this is clear now, right? अगर अभी मुझसे 5-6 लेक्चर पहले ये क्वेश्चन पूछते तो I would have explained it again, because as we have already covered Diffie-Hellman key exchange now, I expect that you are having the basic knowledge of how the key K is generated and shared. Yes or no? Yes, come on, let me know. Fine. इसके पहले अगर पूछते तो मैं ये बोलता कि they can share the message through email, they can share the message through WhatsApp, they can call each other and tell the key, but वो layman terms में होता. But now, as you all know what is Diffie-Hellman key exchange algorithm, they can use that algorithm at their end and create their own shared key, using which they can encrypt the appended text which they have just now received from Alice, right? This is the only difference between scenario A and scenario B. Now, am I clear? Is this concept clear? Kindly let me know if you're still having any confusions. You can take a screenshot of it if you wish. Just take a screenshot of it, and then we will start with the next topic. Very important one. Message digest 5. I will just give you a break of 1 minute. Kindly take the screenshot and let me know once you're done. Yeah, it can be used, Jyoti, in peer-to-peer networks. It can be used, but ultimately depends upon what are the requirements of your network. If you want high speed, then you need to use algorithms such as RC4, RC5, which are very fast. But if you want security to be good enough, then you can go with AES, RSA, etc. It ultimately depends upon the requirements of the system. Just kindly let me know whenever you're done so that I can move ahead with the next topic. Message digest 5. It is one of the algorithms we are going to learn which is used for generating the hashes. जो भी आप यहाँ पे hash देख रहे हो, h देख रहे हो, h is nothing but a hash. वो hash कैसे generate होता है? We are going to learn two of those algorithms, MD5, Message Digest 5, and SHA1, Secure Hash algorithm. So we're going to start with MD5 today. Okay, so do let me know when I can start with it. Fine, done. Okay, thanks. So let's move ahead with the next topic. But before that, yeah, one more thing I forgot. Just have a look at this application part. We have already seen it. Just have a revision. These are the two most important applications that we can do. One, we already know, one-way password file. What we can do is, instead of saving the passwords directly on our machine, what Windows operating systems do is they create a hash of that password and then store the hash in the system. So if I'm creating a user and if I'm having a password for that user, डायरेक्टली पासवर्ड आपके सिस्टम पे स्टोर नहीं होगा. क्या स्टोर होगा? उस पासवर्ड का एक हैश क्रिएट किया जाएगा एंड वो हैश विल बी स्टोर्ड इन दी रेनबो टेबल्स. जैसे हम रेनबो टेबल्स बोलते हैं. यू कैन डू अ स्लाइट रिसर्च ऑन इट. टू फेस एनी इश्यूज, इफ यू फेस एनी डिफिकल्टीज, लेट मी नो. नेक्स्ट टाइम हम लोग डिस्कस करेंगे whenever we get time after lectures. Fine. So basically the passwords are stored in the if I'm talking about Windows OS, they are stored in a SAM registry. And SAM registry के अंदर password directly store नहीं होते. They are stored in the form of a hash value. So that even if an attacker gets access to this folder, they won't be able to see the actual password. They will see the hash representative of that password, and then they need to decrypt it. So that the decryption phase, or we can say the crypt analysis phase, is a little difficult as compared to simply storing the password. Am I clear? अगर आपको directly database का access मिल जाता है using any of the attacks, then आपको तो simply उसका password मिल जाएगा attacker का. But in Windows OS or any operating system which is making use of hash values, what they do is instead of storing the password, वो आपके password का hash store करते हैं. Am I clear? Is it clear? This is one of the first applications of hashing message digest, or we can say MAC. तीनों का same applications है. We can say hash, MAC, or digital signatures. Fine. Second application is intrusion detection and virus detection. What they do is they store the hash function or hash value for each file on a system. सिस्टम में जितने भी फाइल्स हैं उन सब फाइल्स को एक साथ वो हैश करते हैं एंड दे स्टोर दी हैश वैल्यूज सो दैट दे कैन बी यूज्ड whenever we want to verify whether अपने सिस्टम पे किसी ने अटैक किया है, अपने सिस्टम के फाइल्स को किसी ने चेंज किया है या नहीं. Am I clear? This comes really handy from the digital forensics point of view. You're going to learn about it in your last year, final year. Okay. SEM 7. There is an elective Advanced System Security and Digital Forensics. If you opt for it, you will come to know that what are the various phases of digital forensics. Fine. So it forms a very fundamental aspect of that. That if you take the hash of the entire system and you just check the hash after some point of time. For example, आपका system है, ठीक है? and you take a hash of that system just for your reference, and after a week or two, if you again check the hash of that same system, and if you find out कि इसमें बहुत difference है, then you will come to know that somebody has tampered with your system. Yes or no? Am I making sense? So this is basically the second application of hash functions. Any confusions with this, kindly let me know. Yes, come on, let me know, students. Clear? What about B division? Okay, fine. So I have just highlighted the two most important applications of these topics which we have studied so far. You will get n number of applications on the internet or in the books also. I will share the notes and the book page numbers also for easy reference. Fine. So let's move ahead with the properties, just final revision. The first property is a hash function should be quick to compute the hash values. Obviously, it should be quick. अगर slow होगा तो लोग उधर ही थक जाएंगे hash function निकालेंगे ही नहीं. So the very first thing is it should be quick. Second is it should be infeasible to generate a message from its hash value. We have already seen it. One way function. Plain text से hash बनाना easy होना चाहिए, but the other way around should be virtually impossible, so that an attacker cannot find out what the plain text is. Fine. This is what we call as a one-way function. Third is the avalanche effect. So a small change to a message should change the hash value drastically. Am I clear? This is your third property. And fourth one is collision resistance, that also we have seen. That is, it is infeasible to find two different messages with the same hash value. So basically, if you want to take a screenshot of it, it is the right time to click the screenshot. Just let me know once you're done. Properties of hash functions, you can obviously elaborate on these. We have already seen the elaborated explanations of all of these functions. First one is it should be quick to compute. Second is it should follow the one-way function that we can derive the hash from the plain text, but it should be difficult to derive the plain text back from the hash. Third is avalanche effect. I hope you don't need any more explanations on this. We have covered that a number of times. And finally, it should be infeasible to find two different messages with the same hash value. That is what we call as collision resistance. Am I clear? Kindly let me know once you're done so that I can move ahead with the last topic. Please come on, let me know. Fine. Okay, hush. What about others? Okay. Okay, thanks a lot. So let's move ahead with the last topic of the day, that is message digest. Obviously, I'm not going to complete it. It's a lengthy topic, so I will be starting it off, and let's see how it goes. Okay, message digest version 5. Obviously, 5 stands for the version number. In your syllabus, you are having message digest version 5, but the previous version was also good, but due to some security implications, it had to be replaced with this version, that is message digest version 5. So I will go slowly one by one. It comes for a 10 marks problem, 10 marks question, where you are expected to write each and every steps along with the diagram. Fine. So let's start off with this message digest. Very first is obviously it is following this property that it should be quick to compute. So the first property is satisfied, that is MD5 is quite fast and produces a 128-bit message digest. So now the things are going to get interesting. If you see over here in the previous diagrams, whenever I had mentioned H, it simply stands for a hash value, right? But I had not mentioned which hash algorithm I have been using for it. So now we are going to start with the hash algorithms, where we will actually be talking about the H box. That is the hash basically. Message goes inside it and output comes out of it. So जो output आएगा उसका size किस पे depend करेगा? It will depend upon the algorithm which is used inside that H box. Am I clear? So now we are talking about the algorithm number one, which is basically message digest 5. Is it clear so far? Can we move ahead? Kindly let me know. Yes, A division, B division, kindly reciprocate. Okay, thanks a lot. So let's see. The input text is processed in 512-bit blocks, which are further divided into 16 32-bit sub-blocks. So now start taking screenshots in between. The input plain text is of size 512-bit blocks. So basically, whatever be the size of the plain text, they are being divided into 512-bit blocks. Similar to your block cipher. Block cipher किया था हमने, if you remember. 64-bit blocks in case of DES. Similar kind of thing over here. जितना भी बड़ा plain text होने दो, divide that into 512-bit blocks, which are then further divided into 32-bit sub blocks. ऐसे 16 सब blocks और बनेंगे जिनका साइज होगा 32 bits each. If you multiply 32 by 16, you will get 512. Yes or no? इतना समझा सबको? Fine. So I'm repeating once again. MD5 is quite fast and it produces a 128-bit message digest. The input text is processed in 512-bit blocks, which are further divided into 16 32-bit subblocks. Is it clear so far? Yes or no? Yes, fine. Yes, Mihir, this is called a digest only. Digest का meaning है वही होता है ना. कॉमिक्स का डाइजेस्ट पढ़ा होगा आपने. कॉमिक्स का साइज बड़ा होता है, डाइजेस्ट का साइज छोटा होता है. द सेम थिंग. That is what we are doing in the case of this algorithm. Fine. So you can compare like this. Message ka size is 512-bit blocks, and the digest which you are getting is 128-bit blocks. 128-bit message. Fine. So even if the plain text is of 3000 bits, the ultimate answer that you will get is 128 bit only. So don't get confused. कितना भी बड़ा आपका plain text होने दो, that has to be divided into 512-bit blocks, and ultimately the answer you will get will be 128-bit message value only. We'll see how it is done. Don't worry. We'll see how is it done one by one. Fine. अभी तक सबको क्लियर हुआ कैसे करना है? Fine. Okay. So let's move ahead. Next is the output of the algorithm is a set of four 32-bit blocks which make up the 128-bit message digest. So ultimately, you can assume that the input is of size 512-bit block and the output will be of size 128-bit. Yes or no? Fine. You can write it like this. This is nothing but 16 32-bit blocks, which is the input, and the output is 4 32-bit blocks. Now I hope this will make sense. Is it clear? Take your time, but kindly clear the concept. Get it clarified if you're having any doubts. So the input is 512-bit block, which is nothing but 16 32-bit blocks. That is getting converted into a 128-bit fixed size block, which will be nothing but 4 32-bit blocks. कैसे मिलेगा वो पूरा प्रोसेस हम लोग देखेंगे स्टेप बाय स्टेप, but at least अभी इतना समझ के चलो. Fine. Okay. So let's move ahead. Now we are going to start with the working of MD5. कैसे आया, क्यों आया, सब देखेंगे एक एक करके. First step is this: padding. Now you know that it is quite possible that the plain text may not be an exact multiple of 512. Yes or no? Obviously there are multiple reasons. The last block के केस में तो यही होने वाला है कि last जो block है, it need not be an exact multiple of 512. So we know we need to add some padding. We have done this n number of times previously also. That if we are running short of bits, to make it an exact multiple, we add some padding bits. Yes or no? We have done that in the past also. Yes or no? Yes, fine. B division? Yes, correct. Okay, so just read the sentence. We are basically going to have 5 steps. Step number 1 is all about padding. What we do? The aim of this step is to make the length of the original message. Now I'm talking about one single block. Okay, so even if I'm having a plain text of 2000 bits, I need to first of all divide into blocks of 512 bits. Okay, so now you only tell me If I'm having a plain text of 2000 bits, how many blocks will I need? A simple, straightforward question. Three or four? 2000 bits का block है मेरे पास, 2000 bit का plain text है मेरे पास. How many blocks I need? Jyoti, how come two? Jay 4, okay. Harsh 4. Jimit is saying 3. Nayan, Simran, Dhruv, you all are saying 4. You only tell me 512 bits है ना, हर एक में 512 होना चाहिए. तो 512 into 3 अगर करोगे कितना आएगा? It is obviously less than 2000. So we need to accommodate those 2000 bits anyhow. So the minimum number of blocks we need, yes, correct, 3 full and rest incomplete. But at least we want 4 blocks. Na? That is what I'm asking. फाइन, 4 ब्लॉक लगेंगे अपने को. सो जो 3 ब्लॉक्स है वो तो कंप्लीटली फेल हो जाएंगे 512 से. लास्ट वाला ब्लॉक बचेगा, राइट? सो फॉर दैट टू बी अ मल्टीपल ऑफ 512 वी नीड टू ऐड सम बिट्स. दोज बिट्स आर कॉल्ड एज पैडिंग. फाइन, समझा? अभी क्लियर हुआ? नाउ अंडरस्टैंड this statement. The aim of this step is to make the length of the original message equal to a value which is 64 bits less than an exact multiple of 512 bits. Don't worry, don't stress too much. Example देखो, clear हो जाएगा. In the example, I have taken the original message length as 1000 bits. So for the time being, forget about this 2000. Just focus on this 1000. So if the length of the original message is 1000 bits, how many bits padding we need to add to it to make it 64 bits less than an exact multiple of 512. Now you must be asking, you might be having queries in your mind, why 64 bits less than an exact multiple of 512? This is the algorithm you're going to learn later in step number 3, what exactly I'm talking about. But just pay attention. The aim of this step is to make the length of the original message equal to a value which is 64 bits less than an exact multiple of 512. Now what is 512 into 2 or 512 into 3? क्या होगा? बताओ. Example देखो. I have written the statement properly. Just go through it once and let me know. Can I make use of 2 blocks to accommodate these 1000 bits? A very straightforward question. Can I make use of 2 blocks to accommodate these 1000 bits, 1000 bits? Now, the first statement is you will say yes, but again, think of it from this point of view, from the statement's point of view. Statement properly देखो क्या बोल रहा है. What is the statement? Read it once again. The aim of this step is to make the length of the original message equal to a value which is 64 bits less than an exact multiple of 512. So what you can do is straightforward 512 में से 64 bits minus करो. कितना होगा? First value will be 512 minus 64. Second value will be the second multiple of 512 which is 1024 minus 64. Next will be 1536 minus 64. कितना वैल्यूज आएगा फिर मुझे बोलो. कंसिडर दिस सेकंड वन. फर्स्ट वन तो वैसे भी पॉसिबल नहीं है. कंसिडर दिस सेकंड वन. 1024 माइनस 64 करेंगे, आंसर कितना आएगा? आई गेस 960. करेक्ट. So can we add, can we basically convert this 1000 bits into 2 blocks? Is it possible? Now it is very much clear, I guess. समझ रहे आपको मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ? Yes or no? So we can't accommodate the 1000 bits in 2 blocks because according to the algorithm, the length of, we have to make sure that the length of the original message should be equal to a value which is 64 bits less than an exact multiple of 512. Now in this case, 512 का exact multiple is 512. 512 का exact multiple, that is the second factor of 512, will be, second multiple of 512 will be 1024. Next will be 1536 and so on. So basically what we are doing, we are multiplying 512 with 1, we are multiplying 512 with 2, we are multiplying 512 with 3, and then taking 64 bits out of it because it is given according to the algorithm. And we will get some values. For example, I guess 476 if I'm not wrong. ये जितना भी आप बता देना आंसर यहाँ पे, just fill it up. This is I guess 960 and then accordingly जो भी आपका आंसर है. Jimit, I will come to it. Don't rush into things. We are still in step number 1. You will get the answer in step number 3. Fine. We are going to fill those 64 bits with some value. That is why we are keeping it blank at this point of time. Fine. Harsh, yeah, what is your doubt? Correct, because we have, you can think of it like this कि 64 bits मैंने save कर लिया है किसी एक value के लिए. 64 bits I have reserved, so I can't have those 64 bits. I can't use it. So that is why I can say that I have to make sure that the length of the message is 64 bits less than an exact multiple of 500. Is it clear now? B division, A division. I hope this explanation is clear. Yes, fine. Yes, B division. Okay, fine. Thank you. So this is your first step. Again, take this example. Again, इसको ध्यान से समझो. क्या किया है? For example, if the length of the original message is 1000 bits, what I need to do is I can't accommodate these 1000 bits into two blocks because at the max two blocks में सिर्फ 960 values ही add कर सकते हैं. Yes or no? We can add at the max 960 bits only if we consider two blocks. So we move ahead with the third multiple. Third multiple अगर जाएंगे, so it will be I guess 1536 minus 64. It will give you 1472. Right? Is it clear? So 1472 bits है मेरे पास. उसमें तो 1000 bits easily I can accommodate. Now you only tell me padding bits कितना add करना चाहिए so that the length is now 64 bits less than an exact multiple of 512. Now you only tell me what should be the padding bits. It is now very clear, very simple. जितना ये value आएगा यहाँ पे, whatever value you get over here, minus the original message का length, कितना है? 1000. So if I say that 1472 minus 1000, you will get the answer as 472 bits. So I will straight away I can say that I need to add 472 bits as the padding bits. Am I clear now? Am I making sense? Kindly let me know. Yes, B division, is it clear? A division? Fine. Anyone who has still not got this? कोई ऐसा है जिसको अभी तक नहीं समझा है? Kindly let me know. Okay, clear? Fine. So this was your step number 1. So basically we need to make it 64 bits less than an exact multiple of 512. This is our step number 1. Fine. Now let's move on with step number 2. Step number 2 is nothing but append the length. Now what is the length? Length is nothing but length is nothing but represent the length of the original message in terms of 2 raised to 64 bits. Now you will get the answer for your previous query. I guess Jimit was having the confusion and most of you were having the confusion that वो 64 bits क्यों छोड़ा है हमने. Step number 2 में वो clear हो गया. देखो एक बार ध्यान से क्या किया है. Original message plus padding is this, right? Plus length. तो जो 64 bits हमने छोड़े थे ना, वो अभी यहाँ पे कैलकुलेट होगा. कैसे? ध्यान से देखो. ओरिजिनल मैसेज का साइज कितना था? Any one of you, what was the size of the original message in terms of bits? 1000, right? So basically what I need to do is you have to represent 1000 as 2 raised to 64 bits. So the 64 bits use करके you have to represent 1000. Am I making sense? Kindly let me know. Is it clear or not? 1000 is the length of the original message. We have to represent this 1000 basically into a binary value, which could be maximum 64 bits in length. 0101 की कॉम्बिनेशन से आपको 1000 दैट इज डेसिमल वैल्यू को कन्वर्ट करना है इन अ बाइनरी वैल्यू. एम आई मेकिंग सेंस? नाउ इज इट क्लियर? यस जिमित. 1000 इज द डेसिमल वैल्यू दैट इज द लेंथ ऑफ दैट ओरिजिनल मैसेज. ये 1000 को आपको कन्वर्ट करना है बाइनरी में मैक्सिमम 64 बिट्स यूज करके. एम आई मेकिंग एनी सेंस नाउ? इज इट क्लियर नाउ? वी आर कमिंग टू इट बात. थोड़ा पेशेंस, थोड़ा पेशेंस. ये टॉपिक थोड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट है, ध्यान से थोड़ा स्लो जाएंगे. फाइन. यहां तक समझा सबको कि लेंथ कैसे कैलकुलेट किया इन टर्म्स ऑफ 64 बिट्स? यस और नो? बी डिवीजन. 1000 was the length in decimal, उसको हमने कन्वर्ट किया इन बाइनरी यूजिंग मैक्सिमम 64 बिट्स. दैट इज बेसिकली a combination of zeros and ones. जो भी आंसर आएगा ऑब्वियसली अगर ब्लैंक होगा तो वी विल बी स्टार्टिंग विद जीरोस. 000000 ऐसे ही होने वाला है अल्टीमेटली. 1000 बिट्स जहां से स्टार्ट होगा वो वैल्यूज यहाँ पे फॉर एग्जांपल कुछ तो वैल्यू आएगा. सो ये 64 बिट्स आर नथिंग बट द लेंथ ऑफ द ओरिजिनल मैसेज. एम आई क्लियर? नाउ एज पर द क्वेश्चन व्हाट अबाउट द पैडिंग बिट्स? ओके. पैडिंग बिट्स कैसे ऐड करते हैं पहले वो देखो. द पैडिंग कंसिस्ट ऑफ अ सिंगल वन बिट followed by all zero bits. Just to make sure, just to identify, just to distinguish कि इसके आगे पैडिंग स्टार्ट हो रहा है. सो 472 बिट्स जो हमने ऐड किए थे पैडिंग के, यस और नो? जो 472 बिट्स हमने ऐड किए थे पिछले केस में पैडिंग के, दैट हैज टू एक्चुअली स्टार्ट विथ 1 फॉलोड बाय zeros. इज इट क्लियर नाउ? पार्ट आई गेस यू आर हैविंग द क्वेरी. सो ये जो 472 बिट्स हमने पैडिंग बिट्स ऐड किए थे, दे हैव टू स्टार्ट विथ अ सिंगल 1 फॉलोड बाय zeros. Am I clear? Yes or no? Fine. So again, let me repeat. This is your original message, जिसका size was 1000 bits, right? We we made some manipulations to it so that इसका size became 1476. Sorry, 1472. Right. Yes or no? Plus 64. I can further break it down like this: 1000 plus 472 plus 64. 64 कहाँ से आया? This is the 64 I'm talking about. Yes or no? Now is it making sense? थोड़ा tricky topic है, that is why I am intentionally going slow and stopping in between. Yes, correct Harsh. 472 अगर होगा तो पहला जो bit होगा that will be 1, rest of all will be zeros. Now is it clear? Have a look at this breakup which I have shown over here. First thing is, obviously it should be 64 bits less than an exact multiple of 512. So exact multiple of 512 कितना था? I guess 1536 था, right? Minus 64 give you this value 1472. So 1472 में से actual message length was 1000 bits. This was your padding bit. So now I hope this is making sense over here. The actual message size of 1000 bits, the padding of 472 bits, plus this 64. So total length, how much is the total length now? You only tell me. What will be the total length of the message? I am expecting answers now from you. Just come on, let me know the answers. What will be the total length? Correct. A division, I got the answer. What about B division? It has to be an exact multiple of 512. Yes, correct answer. So I got the answers from A and B. So as we had taken the third multiple of 512, so the exact answer will be 1536. Now, am I clear? Kindly let me know. Yes or no? उतना ही आंसर होना चाहिए जो स्टार्टिंग में हमने अज्यूम किया था. दैट इज 1536. यहाँ पे वही आंसर आने वाला है टोटल लेंथ. सो आई होप द कंफ्यूजन आर नाउ क्लियर कि पैडिंग बिट क्या है, लेंथ क्या है, एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा. इज इट क्लियर नाउ? फाइन. एनी मोर कंफ्यूजन विद दिस? Kindly let me know. So this will be your final data which you need to hash. So आज के लिए इधर ही रुक जाते हैं because otherwise you won't get the understanding of the next steps. So in tomorrow's lecture, yeah, I will explain Harsh. In tomorrow's lecture, I will again start with step number one quickly, one and two, just a quick revision, and then we will be starting with step number three. So let me quickly revise what we have done so far. So I hope you got this. The original message was 1000 bits. We added a padding of 472 bits so that it becomes an exact multiple of so that it becomes 64 bits less than an exact multiple of 512. Exact multiple अपने केस में कितना हुआ? Such that it accommodates the entire message. It came out to be the third multiple of 512, which was 1536. Now, if I add this term 1000 and 472, I still have 64 bits to be filled up. So वो 64 bits जो हमने पहले initially छोड़े थे blank, that can be filled up using this formula. That is, calculate the length of the message. Length as in calculate the original message of this original length of this 1000 bits in terms of 64 bits only. So अगर 1000 bits आपका original length है message का, उसको represent करो binary में using only 64 bits. Am I clear? और जो भी वैल्यू आएगा वो इसके साथ ऐड कर देना है. I hope Harsh this is clear now. Next or previous one, which one you want to see Jyoti? Next, okay, one second. Next तो अभी तक पढ़ा ही नहीं है मैंने. Fine. Means original message plus padding plus length of. Correct. Everything will be in binary only. Everything is in terms of binary only. डेसिमल में चाहिए नहीं. डेसिमल में सिर्फ उसका लेंथ हम लोग देख रहे हैं. क्लियर नाउ? फाइन. आई होप दिस इज क्लियर. यू नीड टू प्रैक्टिस इट वंस. एक बार समझ गया, दिमाग में बैठ गया तो बहुत सिंपल है. फाइन. ओके, लेट मी शेयर द अटेंडेंस लिंक. Okay, so tomorrow we'll